a very important key point of mine is that attractive females are controlled. They are bred to be controlled. If you miss that, you don't know what the hell you're talking about anything really in terms of politics and religion at this point and so on and so forth. Okay? Because they're controlled. There's no way around it. So in the video before this, I was cut off around Psalm 9. Let me just shoot through Psalm 9 and Proverbs 8. Okay, basically I started with Proverbs 29, 18 through 19, where there is no vision, or revelation rather. The people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. A servant will not be corrected by words, for though he understand, he will not answer. See the video before this for the explanation. Psalm 9. The nations have fallen into the pit they have dug. Their feet are caught in the net they have hidden. The Lord is known by his acts of justice. The wicked are ensnared by the work of their hands. The wicked go down to the realm of the dead, all the nations that forget God. What most people don't want to realize is that all the nations forget God. In the Bible, there's many interpretations for revelations as far as their Greco-Roman kind of occult system, their Baalist kind of occult system. Okay, many variations they can play, many ways they can play. But really what it is they're getting rid of in the mind, right? Psyche means mind, and it means soul. And at times it means, one definition of it also means spirit. So they're getting rid of the spirit of God in their mind. In their mind, where heaven used to be through the sun gate is gone. Where earth used to be, earth as you know it is gone. It's the end of knowing heaven, of the idea of heaven, right? And you already see that with this fake ass shit going on today, these days. So the new earth and the new heaven is in the mind. It's also where they say he was crucified. You have occultists saying that Jesus was crucified in Golgotha, the place of the skull, right? In the mind. Okay, so they're taking this in the mind approach, and it's superimposed on the martial arts structure. So to them, the people who follow them aren't going to heaven. If you're in a culture that's allowed, you're not going to heaven. The only chance you have is to transcend and in the divine order. And I've gone over that many, many times. See the key reasons why on the top martial artists playlist. If you have any questions about that, it might take hours and hours. It might take you a week, several hours a day. But you should watch that playlist and listen carefully. And turn the volume down as needed when I start yelling. And I'm sure you understand why I yell. And we'll get to that in Proverbs 27:5 and Proverbs 28:23 if we have time at the end of this video. So anyway, Psalms 9. The nations have fallen into the pit they have dug. Their feet are caught in the net they have hidden. The Lord is known by his acts of justice. The wicked are ensnared by the work of their hands. The wicked go down to the realm of the dead, all the nations that forget God. So again, what happens in Revelations is these people who are sealed by Jesus, by Baal, a world deity. G, a Roman and Sumerian world deity, also known as Ki. Okay, that's why mental health has emerged with Buddhist psychology. Okay, because the place of this world, the world energy, the people who want to be right with God, they're taken away a long time before they establish this new heaven and new earth on earth. Okay, and the light, the Luciferian light of G, the world deity, those who are of this world, is what shines. They don't have the sun or the moon, which are symbolically the eyes and the vision and the revelation of God. But God will never forget the needy. The hope of the afflicted will never perish. Arise, Lord. Do not let mortals triumph. Let the nation be judged in your presence. Strike them with terror, Lord. Let the nations know they are only mortal. Now, obviously not in this sort of corny voice they've drugged me into. I've made it clear to them that they are going to perish when they die, whether they follow a Luciferian guy with a magic wand, like in Dante's Inferno. As this angel said to open a door with a wand, right? Some kind of Harry Potter pussy. Whether they follow Harry Potter or not, they are going to die a dishonorable death, knowing they lived a life of a despicable beta. To a true alpha, a fate that is worse than death is a life of a beta. And that is part of what's going on here. Proverbs 8. But those who fail to find me harm themselves. All who hate me love death. Now, what do they mean hate? This is confusing to a lot of people. I urge you to consider this carefully. They're not saying that people spend all day cussing out God. It's when people are like me come around and start speaking about God and move in the true spirit, they want them to go away because they make them look bad. They want them to shut up because they're a transcendent, mighty, moral warrior. Okay? God is a mighty warrior. Jeremiah, and so on and so forth. Proverbs, Psalm 127. Unless the Lord builds the house, right? The temple. Jesus said the temple will be rebuilt in 3 days. He was talking about his body. Okay? Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guard stands watch in vain. It doesn't matter if he protects them from every army on the planet. If the Lord isn't protecting that city, it is an evil city. Fuck you protecting. You know, it's the same thing with my martial art argument. Once they screened me out, there's nothing but snakes and cowards that didn't stand with me and obey God through me. Fuck you. Fuck, what are you living for? You're like, I have a long-term plan to what? To protect a bunch of Judas scumbags, sons of Judases? What good is that? Unless the Lord is watching over them, and he's not. You refuse to obey him. You're watching over him. The guard stands watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves. Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior, are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. Is he talking about children born of Satan from the tree of knowledge to snake people like me? We have a culture where there's a foundation, there's a consideration, and there's a plantation. There's an Asian, folks. We do not have universal morality. We don't have universal truth. We don't have universal honor, true honor. We don't have universal principles. We shun that guy. We shun him. That's not what he's talking about. That's a bootlicker's pittance in the quiver of a fool. That's a magic wand in Harry Potter's pocket. Fuck them. Who cares? To hell with them. Literally. To hell with them. Those who obey the divine order. That is good fruit. When you get rid of the last tree that bears good fruit, and it's the Redeemer's tree, no one gets redeemed. It's a no-brainer. When you ask yourself, like the Lord said, I am who I am, to Moses. Yes, who am I? Who am I? I'm someone who has no one to redeem him, but a bunch of posers, a bunch of fakes, a bunch of wannabes. Bunch of wiggers, as the saying goes. They want to be the black redeemer. A bunch of vanilla ices are like, look, can I play preacher too? Acting like bitches. That's who. So this page is called Transcendent versus Descendant. And of course, being black isn't enough, folks. But who's in charge of this world? You get why I say that. Oh, he's racist. So he's half white, but he's racist. Acting like a bitch. Go ahead and act like a bitch, right? Who fucking cares, right? You're going to hell anyway, right? Transcendent versus descendant. We've reached the point where you're either going up or you put on a thong and bend over for a bunch of pedo cults and you're going down. No servant can be greater. Okay, once you're scared of them to the point where you've chosen to survive, they can tell you to bend over. Fork over your kid, hand over your wife. They're going to say, wait, we'll kill the rest of your family. We'll kill the rest of your family and act like bitches. They can always do that. If you let them do that, what's to stop them from coercing you into bending your kid over for them? Think about it. And then when you're like, it's because they wanted my kid to bend over, you think God's going to respect it? Now you're on your way out because you were selfish and thought only of your family, okay? And you've gotten your family killed too if you stand up to them. And you have forsaken God. You didn't do it for God. You did it for your kid. You weren't willing to obey God. So once the sun gate is closed, you can't be right with God. And every reason is a less than right with God reason to fight with them. So if you do kill the rest of your family, what have you done? What have you done? No servant can be greater. No servant can be a greater good. Right? It's like good, it's like a thermometer, right? 0. Right? You can't be past 0. You can't be in the Spirit of God. You can't be a greater good. No one is good but those in the Spirit of God. You can't be past 0. Okay? It's beneath that. And he descends into hell. Right. The Father chooses the sword. It says in this Wu-Tang song, quoting some kind of Eastern movie, it says, choose the sword, you join me. Choose the ball, you join your mother in death. So it's not just the Bible saying this. It's saying you put on a worldly beta thong and you choose not to be a warrior, you choose to be a performer, you choose to be an artist, you choose to be anything that's allowed to survive in the new world order. It's a new secular order, novus ordo seclorum. It rejects the Spirit of God. It's not just the nation that rejects the Spirit of God, it's the whole world. And they're not kidding. They're not wrong about that. You're just fooling yourself. You're like, I'm connecting, I swear. You're kidding yourself. Proverbs 27:5. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Like, how can he speak so harshly to us? God is love. God is love. You're hiding the Spirit of God. You're not loving anybody. Fuck you, who are you to say that to me? I'm the one trying to bring in the true spirit of love. Yes, God is love, and you're blocking him with your eros, agape, beta, Greco-Roman, butt plug, bitch shit. That's what you're doing. Better is open rebuke on YouTube for the world to see, declaring the glory of God from the rooftops, than hidden love and treating each other with politeness. Proverbs 27:5. Proverbs 28:23. Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor from the Lord, obviously, rather than one who has a flattering tongue. But God is love. We're supposed to give each other empty, half-truth compliments and act like bitches. No, you're not. Who's right? You or King Solomon or whoever wrote Proverbs? Who's right? Think about it. Go ahead and put your arguments. If you're going to disagree, make sure you put on a fanny pack and a thong first. You want to be suited properly for your bitch. Anyway, so we see the things of the female player. When a female joins the moon temple and has a crater and a canyon cooch, as they say, a canyon cooter, a loose pussy, okay, is her friends who are cheering her on showing her love. Go ahead, girl. Don't let that hero tell you how to spread your legs and who to sleep with. Strike a blow for our culture. He's the conservative. Play the game. She's a form of a player too. She's playing the white privileged, white supremacist, conservative game. The trickle-down Trump bitch game. Are they doing him a favor? A female player is like a female who's straight into a frat house. They run a train on her. She goes home. And she says to her friends, and she's bragging. She's like, I had sex with 20 men, 20 young men. Okay. Oh boy. They were too drunk to know, that I'm getting over on them. Really? Do I have to explain any more? It's the same fucking thing. It's just the rate of the train being run on them. A train of thought. They're training her to be a Western slut. And when she does it, what does she do? You're rewarding pure scumbags who calculated that event. And you are hurting him. Her, hurt, harm, him, hero, haru, heart, whore you, Horus, without the S, whore you. Whore us. In the absence of a true martial arts system, what happens to the guy's inclined to be decent? He gets down on his luck, and he ends up sleeping with prostitutes and unattractive women and gets diseases and stuff. Because you chose to give the healthy pussy to the demonic scumbag. You're whoring yourself, and you're whoring those people who are inclined to be decent, who don't have a martial arts system to protect them from the wayward slut or the unattractive devil-worshipping predator. That's what you've done. The late Mac Dre, in the Bay he's known as the late great Mac Dre. Let me shoot through this. Okay, he says, life is like a movie with his song, Life is Like a Movie with Messy Mark. He says, and the title is Bust a Bitch to Get Her Booty. He's willing to be underhanded. He's promoting drugs. Slap a bitch, drug her. Work with white America, dress like a skater, whatever you gotta do. And I'm not saying all white people are bad. I'm saying that's the game that you're playing. How are you a player and you're playing a game that involves raping women? How are you a feminist? How is that empowering women? My God, for whose benefit? Bread, be red, made in America. The contrast. The dumbed down trophy wife human resource. Why are these words called this? And unfortunately, the amount of times I got to leave you with that